Attack. I'm joined by Riccardo Dugulin in Brussels. He's a senior analyst with Drum Cussac Group. That's a business risk management company specialising in security threats. Good to have you with us, Riccardo. So what do you make of this attack? Does it have the hallmarks of a Daesh attack? Because originally Germany was saying that it didn't, but now this Tunisian suspect seems to have links to Daesh groups.
So we need to keep in mind that the Islamic State, ISIS, have been trying to expand their reach into Germany for quite some time now. They have developed quite a strong recruitment system with a good propaganda in German language, but they lack the logistics behind the network to be able to carry out more complex attacks. The latest assault in Berlin was an attack that was clearly in the line of previous incidents that took place throughout the year in Germany, in which an assailant that was inspired or connected to ISIS carried out or tried to carry out a mass casualty attack, as we have seen in July with 2 other incidents of that kind, and this one was sadly more successful, and the Islamic State managed to claim responsibility to score a propaganda victory on that side. Yeah.
Indeed, and as you say, there's been a wave of terror attacks in Germany this year, not to mention attacks in France. We saw the attacks in Nice and Paris. So how vulnerable is Europe to these kind of attacks?
Well, as you have seen within the last 18 months, Europe is quite vulnerable. France and Belgium remain among the top countries within the Islamic State agenda and the European agenda. Germany is within the ISIS reach as well, and what we see increasingly is the threat of these single assailant kind of attacks, as in Nice, and in which very little is needed to plan and organize an attack, and a lot is needed from the security forces to be able to foil such plots. And as such, the debate that is going to take place in the coming months within the security forces of Germany is how to try to prevent such actions, and especially how to reform the judicial laws that are in place already in order to be able to detain suspects that have been identified as potential terrorists or potential recruiters for this kind of incidents. Yeah.
Yeah, and if it turns out that this was the work of this Tunisian migrant, how damaging is that for Angela Merkel and her policy on refugees, particularly with an election coming up?
Well, that's definitely a big hit for Merkel. As we have seen within the last months, since July, she has been heavily criticized for the issues that are linked to the security questions in Germany, especially because of the questions that are being raised concerning potential terrorists infiltrating migrants and refugees waves in Germany. Of course, opposition parties, especially the AfD, are trying to take credit for this kind of opposition to Merkel's policy, and this latest attack will obviously have a heavy toll on her policy. It's unlikely that Germany will substantially change its policy within the next 6 to 7 months, but the overall posture of Germany has been questioned, and what comes next will be a difficult political task for Merkel, and especially within the European context. As you have seen, political parties in France, in the Netherlands, are trying to benefit from this kind of security scare, and these attacks are playing into the wider discourse that security should be tightened, and there should be higher restrictions concerning the arrival of migrants and refugee seekers.
Riccardo, it was good to get your analysis there. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Riccardo Dugulin in Brussels there.